Meanwhile, the horrific school shooting that took place in Texas that killed 19 school children and 2 teachers this week has created shockwaves across the United States, with dozens of significant details of the dreadful event now coming forth. Fingers are now being pointed at the law enforcement officials over their alleged inaction and inefficiency in handling the crisis when the gunman was actively shooting at children. The Texas head of public safety has acknowledged that it was a wrong decision on the part of the police to not immediately breach the classroom where the shooting was unfolding. The survivors have called the emergency number from the classroom long after the 18-year-old Salvador Ramos had entered with an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. While the police officers were in the hallway outside the room waiting for more assistance, they did not decide to storm inside the room and engage the active gunman who was shooting at children.
Hey, for the benefit of hindsight, where I'm sitting now, of course it was not the right decision. It was the wrong decision, period. There's no excuse for that. But again, I wasn't there, but I'm just telling you, from what we know, we believe there should have been an entry at that as soon as you can.
A short video footage from the shooting site shows parents frantically urging the police officials to storm the building to save the kids. In another short video, parents can be seen complaining angrily that the police are doing nothing to gun down the perpetrator. The gun massacre at the Texas elementary school this week has reignited the debate again about U.S. gun control. Many Democrats, including the American President Joe Biden, have decried the U.S. gun lobby. Other politicians, including the former Republican President Donald Trump, however, have rejected calls for stricter gun laws. Believe it or not, while addressing the National Rifle Association's annual convention that was held in Houston on Friday, Donald Trump said that decent Americans should actually be allowed to carry firearms that they need to defend themselves against the larger evil. The Republican former president added that the U.S. government should not only think of what's happening in Europe, but should also invest in security planning at home to keep children safe from such horrific crimes, and they should do it by arming more people with guns in the United States.
What we need now is a top-to-bottom security overhaul at schools all across our country. This is not a matter of money. This is a matter of will. If the United States has $40 billion to send to Ukraine, we should be able to do whatever it takes to keep our children safe at home. Thank you. That's true. We spent trillions in Iraq, trillions in Afghanistan. We got nothing. Before we nation build the rest of the world, we should be building safe schools for our own children in our own nation, right?
He also called for a change to the United States' approach to mental health issues and also a security overhaul at schools to strengthen safety of school kids. Believe it or not, this is what Donald Trump wants to do. He's urged for an end to gun-free school zones and proper training of school officials in order to prevent such acts in the future. He warns that people should be armed with more guns to prevent attacks like this from happening in the future.
As part of a comprehensive school safety plan, it's time to finally allow highly trained teachers to safely and discreetly concealed carry. Let them concealed carry.
The multiple speakers, including Texas Governor Greg Abbott, pulled out of the event after the horrific crime, but Trump had confirmed that he would not be cancelling his appearance at NRA's annual leadership forum. Meanwhile, hundreds of Texas residents staged a protest outside of the NRA convention to voice their concerns over the increased gun-related violence in the country. Protesters held signs and red-splattered clothing symbolizing blood-stained clothes.
With this extreme perspective that any kind of common sense policy person in this country
As the chorus for stricter regulation on guns continues to grow, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed that guns are now the leading cause of death for American children. In 2020, there were nearly about 5 deaths for every 100,000 Americans that were due to gun-related violence. And that number represents nearly a 30% increase in firearm deaths amongst children in comparison with the figures of 2019. And our correspondent Susan Tehrani has been tracking the story very closely for us and has sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
Former President Donald Trump rejected the idea of tighter gun control during his speech at the NRA conference, instead focusing on mental health care while chastising Democratic mayors for urban crime. The former president said the existence of evil in our world is not the reason to disarm law-abiding citizens. The existence of evil is one of the very best reasons to arm law-abiding citizens. Those comments were met with applause by those in attendance. Meanwhile, several hundred protesters gathered outside the meeting, which has been dubbed the largest gathering of NRA members and Second Amendment supporters in the United States. The NRA has been a staunch supporter of Donald Trump. Back in 2016, it donated $31 million to help him get elected, and in 2020, it donated $16.6 million to his re-election campaign. During his time as president, while Donald Trump did not support stricter background checks, he did ban bump stocks, which is the controversial accessory which effectively turns semi-automatic rifles into rapid-fire machine guns. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.